Just waiting for some people to show up. Expecting someone. I was just doing a little bit of doodling with some blurred sketching. Where is the live event? Okay, here we go. I'm gonna open up the live event. Gonna mute that up. Mute. So I can actually access the chat room, little chat box area. Because I gotta remember, it's gonna be over there. So, okay. I'm gonna flip it back. Start off with a bit of the technique. I'm gonna show again for those who haven't seen. Let's get the new sheet. Gray tone in, fill. There we go. Now, this is airbrush with no pressure sensitivity for size, just for weight, and it's as large as the brush itself. Press very lightly, and just get the blurred image. So that you can work on the proportions first. Let's retry that again. Meh. Oh yeah. So let's just start off with that character's head. Now the thumbnail helps show a lot more. And you kind of work as a thumbnail. Let's see if anyone is on. Not just yet. Alright, well I'm just waiting for the people Sacrific to show up. And we're gonna do some overview on face and hands. Again, shared a lovely link to a process that's I would refer to as sculpting on paper. You coordinate yourself by referring to other lines on the paper, and that pretty much constructs the shapes and the volumes. So here, just giving it a blurred image. You gotta know where the light's gonna hit. And then you start shrinking the size of your blur. And this is the startup. So when you get closer and closer to the details, you just start making your airbrush tool smaller and smaller. And you'll have already established a lot of the general scale and proportions just from the blurred image. It's like working on the thumbnail, but you have the whole size already being set. I hope this sound is good for you guys. So this is just a borrowed mic. I'm looking forward to getting my own mic, and with a mic arm, oh boy, because it's a heavy mic I got to borrow. Starting to highlight the points that are sticking out more towards the source of light. I feel a little lost. Yeah, that's not right. So I go grab the blender tool and I can reshape. Grab the size I need. I've already got a lot of the shading and sizes in. This is not a particularly revised practice technique, but it's just a method I'm experimenting with. And it's fun to experiment. I'm trying to get used to all my new tools in this software. Sometimes I'll just leave the eye area very, very much shaded. Because it becomes like the, pardon, stuttering again, like the eye sockets. there's a lot of detail to faces that need to be accounted for, and always considering the angle that you're working with. It doesn't matter if it's anthropomorphic or very human. We very much are dependent on seeking uh, patterns that we're familiar with, and the face is one of the first patterns you'll seek out in random abstract content. Eyes and face is the first thing you recognize. That's why people often see faces inside things that don't have faces, like clocks or chairs. Gonna check up. Alright, hey Sacrific, welcome back. I gotta check up more often. So one of the things that the video got to view was talking about the tree of proportion. Forehead, brow to nose, and then nose to chin. So kind of, you do your circle practice, use your muscle memory, and you'll get the idea of where the hairline would reach. So it'd be about there or so. Let's get a larger brush here. Let's work a little smaller. That's 200. Okay, 100 right here. Just touch up the tips, get your highlights in. Let's see, brush, no, watercolor, smooth color, so that I can stretch that nicely. I have it set to full density paint and half color stretch with no amount paint. By the way, Sacrific, this is Clip. I've been showing this to you earlier before. You're surprised that and you just go on, I got this program called Clip. I showed it to you. I told you about it. But that's okay, because it's also important that you make your choices in software. And you get to handle and get familiar with the software you want to get, you want to feel comfortable with. Let's get back the airbrush here. We want to brush in a little bit more for the shadowing there. And then a bit of a highlighting around the edges. Not too much, just a bit less. So then I would use the blend and kind of have that go well together. Boom, 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 boom. I blend in the direction that I'm sculpting. So yes, the The video I shared before, yes, it does have a lot of content. That's because the face just has that much detail to work with. So a sketch I did earlier, I started off just shading it off a bit and getting some principal shapes to it, and then refining the extra lines and you working your proportions out. That chin needs to be down a little bit, I find. Let's get here a bit. So we're gonna just move this slightly, and we're gonna blur everything properly back together because we want our proportions to be nice and even. Okay, let's try that. Okay, now we're going to get them blurred back together. There we go. So that was just a little sketching I was doing earlier. Check the chat. Thank you. Freaking awesome. Oh, thank you. Alright, so we're going to cover a little bit about hands. Now, I didn't do much about hands here, but I'll try to add one around here. So I'm going to get a general shape in, and I'm on the blend tool. Ha! Here we go. About 60. Let's pump that up. The thumb would be about here. Yeah, something like that would be nice. If I were to draw in the shape of the arm, imagine a cylinder. Just aiming in this direction, you follow that shape. Just overlay all the various things that there are to add. Knuckle, knuckle, knuckle. It starts to get a little bit flat because the thumb's going to stretch out over there. There are two joints to take note when it comes to the thumb, and that is the joint where it really folds out one way, and there's this other joint that's just against where the skin is all connecting together. So if I draw out the end part of the thumb there, so that would be a joint around here, and then there'd be another joint there, and that kind of leans into the wrist. Now, this ending joint really moves around a lot because of the other joints inside the palm itself. This part is connected to a lot of skin, so just keep sketching, because you need to come to understand a lot of the subtle shapes and changes. And where the wrists are going to be. And how much in proportion is the tip of the finger in compared to the rest. Because you've got long sections of the finger in front connected to the end joint there. And then about if you curve it in, you've got about that much of proportion for the finger. Over here, it's all gonna bubble up together like balloons colliding. But here, you're really gonna need to stress the skin because the muscles are, the tendons actually, are pulling in the other direction. So everything here is being taut, as in tugged, to the extreme. To the extreme! Yeah. And then you got to adjust the shape, shading. Extremities of light. And then after that, I recommend working afterwards on your highlights and where the light just bounces off again. Because it's, you want to get your key light in first. And that's going to be the most major thing with everything, and it's going to tell about everything else. For example, if I got the major light coming in from slightly in front of the face and to the top, determined by the nose, and the highlights in the eyes, then I've got a little bit more shading coming here, but I've got a lot of flat surface here and flat surface here. And it's a very pale fabric for the costume, so that's going to bounce right back up and underneath. Now that also is going to be controlled by that main source. It's going to be kind of softened out, and the angle, you're not going to see much more than what reaches here. Let's see. How much else to see? So lighting is another real important part to work on. Let's see. I'm gonna have a little gander at the piece you posted. And you've done a lot of work on trying to get the curves of the body, so that's good study. But there's a lot of differences that aren't consistent. If you take care of looking at the shins, the muscle on the right leg seems much smaller than the muscle on the left. So if I go and try to re-sketch that up a bit, not the whole thing, but I'm going to just Alt-Tab slightly. Okay. So you've got a posture that's sort of like this. I'm gonna need to raise it. Bucket, 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 bucket. There you are. Okay. Back to this. And oi, the left arm is not properly overlapping because you gotta take in mind where that hand is gonna be. And the right arm seems very short by comparison because we don't see enough detail of the other hand. But if we want to get the shoulders right, it's slightly tough. So we keep in mind, first of all, torso. We build up the torso, sternum. Okay. Female, you're gonna add the accessories afterwards. It's all the same basics and sizes. Not gonna be very influential for this first SketchUp. Always identify where that center line is. Belly button area, waist. And how much that's going to influence the other shapes. So here we need to draw out, like if we have X-ray, where the butt is actually going to be. Here it's going to be a little bit squished together like so, because this leg is raised and has an extended shin, whereas this knee has kind of a little bit of a folded area. Now this kneecap is only a structure to help cover the tendons. So what we've got here is a lot of flat tendons here, and then you're going to have some muscle connecting across like so. Quick bucket, let's fill that up a little bit more. Back here, we get the black. And circles, they help a lot for getting your unit sizes checked out. We're going to open this leg a little bit. So this one is kind of in this sort of direction if I give lines around the legs, and this one is a bit more opened up. So we're going to have a lot more shade. Go a bit more heavy on the shade. It's going to help get things aligned. And shaped up and volumed, and give it some good weight. So if you want the hand there, you want the shoulders there and there, get the torso in, because that's going to be really important for your proportions. Torso is going to tell you where the elbow is. because they're together. Ladies tuck in their elbows, and it adjusts right into their waistline area, and that's where we get the uh, ribs finished up. So we gotta get the curve in. We mark the length of where approximately the elbow would be. Go raise that up slightly. Boop, boop, boop. Okay. The situation I see for the right hand is a lack of understanding for the second knuckle, and particularly because there's this line that indicates something of a fold instead of a stretch. So let's go in. We'll get some red, and from what I see, it's nothing more than another talon or finger. Whereas a hand itself, it's going to be stretching in instead. The thumb is about as long as the first extending knuckle. So that gives you a bit of proportions in that direction. Let's increase our shadow abilities here. Remember, in the female body, the thigh is much longer than for the male counterpart. Now, we gotta be really picky here, because the hand, if you remember or know, is the same size as the face. So you do your unit, you set your face. Okay, so actually the face would be down here because of the jaw area. And then bring it up. and you kind of work from there on. Gonna go check the tubes, because I had to shift over. Alright. Just continue adding comment if you like. I'm gonna continue now, working a little bit on the remake of the picture you were commenting on. So, this was the original picture, and the picture itself conveys this character glancing up at this character in the forefront, in the foreground, who is uh, gazing forward on the path, and they're walking along in some under lit foliage under daylight, and it's about going to places like normal people do, and having a serene moment of appreciation to be able to do so. Oh, his ears are bent back. I didn't take note of that. So, how that continued on was something like this. And I'm contemplating if I should continue with his ears back or no. So, the method towards this was simply I started off with a black and white sketching, and I added on the palette and kept it kind of flat. Kind of. The majority of the lighting was done with just getting some foliage type effect for lighting going on, and for that there is a focal point here, which was done with a special ruler focus line. You place it where you want, and all the lines are going to converge if you snap on the tool for that. So I turned that off, and then I went and I sketched them in, and just retouching and erasing what I need, because I don't want this to be an outlined type of painting. I've been moving away a lot from that. And after I did the black white, and I just dabbed in the palette and had it mix in with the white and black, because I'm just gonna work with that a bit. And then I added this layer, which is the highlights I took from the foliage itself, and the opposite for the shading. Gotta fill that up a bit more. That I will do with one of my more favorite tools, Smooth Color, because I have that to full density half stretch. And this is telling me that I have a few holes around here. So I'm just gonna dibby dab. I hate having holes in my alpha channels. It's gonna tell me very clearly where those holes are. Because if I just dab in with the smooth watercolor, I have it full density paint and no paint in it, then I'm just stretching the color itself. I'm not on the right layer. This is the right layer. There we go. That's pretty much all it's going to do. And it's going to fill the little holes. like that, and it just fills what you need. Boop, boop, boop. Underneath is a lot darker, so just general lighting. There we go. That's an idea now. How much? Yeah, it's coming along pretty alright. Do I have lines? Yeah, here there are some holes. There we go. That's filled up. There we go. Right. His eyebrows are a lot shorter. There we go. Gotta pick up the color. I love the color pickup. No, keep that there. I have oil paint right here. The oil paint brush I use so much. And the shadow colors here, the highlights and shadows, this is just to get the color palette correct for the environment. And I have it set to overlay. And that's what's going to give me this effect. So when I'm not in overlay mode, I'm just going to get this back to normal, work on it a little bit more, and I'm around here. Beep, beep. No, I don't want that. It's good there. I just brush on what I want. You can go pick the empty alpha so that you can just erase with the same texture. It's a fun little thing I picked up on. And if you right click on another color, it will automatically go into that mode of selection. There's a lot of playing around to tweak how you want your brushes to behave for you. And I really like how the colors blend together. That's why I have been working a lot with digital painting methods. Let's get that part in. Now we're going to use smooth watercolor and we're going to work that all together. Give the eyes a lot of shading. Like so. Alright, I'm on the watercolors. Smooth. Back to oils. Pick up. Okay, I'm gonna work a little bit now on the light and shadow area because I want to be able to blend these two together. I'm only using one layer for this. I could have a folder and have one layer for the highlights and the other for the shadowing, but I'm just gonna play around with it like this. Gonna grab the color here, the highlight color. I think I have some holes here. Let's see. Yeah. It's just regular holes in this part. And in here we have a very strong contrasting light. And I want to get that shape in a little bit more like so. You can really focus more on how you work the highlights when it's just black and a sort of monotone black and white sort of aspect to it. Just focus on those two things, what you've got on your plate. Right. Made it slightly transparent so that I can see across that and how it's all affected. It's a lot of focus because I've already determined where my light source is, and it was way up there behind them on the other side of the foliage. So I'm looking at them from a very shaded corner area. Blending tool. Okay, now let's see how it's working. Full effect. Overlay is not doing all that I wanted. Hard light is a little bit more than I wanted. So sometimes it's simply a matter of getting the two to work together, which in short means having the two active. Overlay half of that, hard light half of that. So you get best of both worlds by having both worlds. Part of the struggle is knowing how to get the look that you want. And how to achieve it. And you won't know how to achieve it unless you've played around and you've gotten the hang of working with those colors and experimenting how the colors all work, how the layers and tools, how they all work together. This I want to be somewhat translucent. add more to that because I'm gonna delete that. I'm gonna be copying only from what I really need here. Okay, I need to have a bit of highlight, bouncing back over here just a bit. And I'm gonna blend that in. I got a little blending brush. Softgels blending. I want the smooth watercolor because I'm getting some gaps here. I need to fill them in. Da 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 da. So even if I don't post this, it's been really nice to share just some live streaming material. Overlay hard light. Here I want to erase this part. There we go. And I need to darken that part of that eye. So I gotta get back to normal, pick up the shadow, set that back to hard light, get the oil brush, watercolor blend, it's a bit too big. Get the size you need to work with. So important. There we go. So I'm liking how that's coming together. I need to, not so much, more like so. Smooth watercolor, that size. Blend, large. Such. Go. Need here make this one so that it carries the shadow more the way I want it. Okay. And this is the extra little tidbit. I have a slight gradient set in oh, yeah, oh, yeah, set with a darker green shade and the gradient into a bit of a dirt. So this is the sort of effect I get out of it with lighten 56%. If it were at full, we'd see it like this. And I don't want that much. I want it somewhat affecting, but not totally black. What makes black is the contrast in color. I had this painting class 2011, and one of the exercises was to have the three main primary colors used in the palette for the painting, with which black was not going to be black. It was going to be the contrary of the other two colors. So what I had was some black strokes across a blue field with yellow wash. It was very much planned out, and the black worked by adding the red because it was contrasting to the green. And that's how working in contrasting shade works. There we go. Yeah. I don't post all my stuff. I've mentioned before. I've got a lot of sketches and whatnot and files. Let me try to see if I can just a list. Just a list. That was, oh yeah, that sketch I did before. View by list. And this is image related. You get an idea. And it's not everything. It's only like the past year or two or so. That's it. You get an idea of that. Does it show? No. No, it doesn't show. Oh, crackers. Anyway. I've set it to list, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13. About 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's over 500 files right there in on my K drive. If I were to open something, view, medium icon. This is a more recent picture. I just was playing around with Clip and was having a lot of fun. That's the 100%. And it's very sketchy, but it's a lot of how I want to just apply the color and do a layout of color, work some red and bounce it off in other places of the picture. And that was fun with that. This was about having just some backgrounds. This was, yeah, added color here, and that's an overlay. What do I have around here? Yeah, got that there. What's over here? Yeah, more sketchings. You put, this tone here is a very dark magenta purple, very, very pinky. And this was more background stuff. Yeah, just trying to work out a bit of background practice with this and that. Da 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 da. Da da da. Setting up some backgrounds. And I saw some nice oil painting tutorials regarding that. What have I posted recently? Not too sure. Well, I counted from the menu. I have it set so it's only looking at the clip. I thought it would show the menu as well for the clip, but no, I suppose not. Let's see. Scraps. What have I been posting recently? I post a lot in my scraps. Just because I want to share. Yeah, one of them that I posted recently was this. Was that that's just a PNG. I'm sorry. That's just a PNG. Oh yeah, I was also working on trying to set up something of a thumbnail picture for when I'm working in clip. Let's see, what else is there? Is this? No. That's some sketching I did during that. Right. Open up. Lancer. Yeah, I did some live streaming of him, and that was fun. I like how the colors turned out. Open. Oh, come on. Oh, was this it? I think this was the set with the backgrounds. No, this is not the full set with the backgrounds. This is just some others, but it's good too. The principle behind this is to have a color that comes out more because of the contrast. This black around it is not black. It's actually sepia sepia tone, and the turquoise really comes out because of that. It works very well for reds too, because of the lesser saturation. Let's see. And that was clips. Hands. Random sketching. What's in that one? Yeah, it's same content. Open. And that's it. Was this background painting? I think that's what I was trying to pull out, because I was really liking yeah, that's loading a while. No. Yeah, that's got the backgrounds. That's got the backgrounds right there. Alright. So this was one of the backgrounds I prepared for that. And it's shifting across tones. So if I pick up, you see that's around the purples, and that went straight into the blues, and this is more in the reds, so it's shifting towards the very brighter area. Here's with a yellow center, And the corners here are a very dark pink. And yeah, just off the tip here, that's gone black. So it's this bright saturation and shift. Was that the same thing, or as repainted? And this was applied. Just get your oil paintbrush and was it this one? I think it was this one. Yeah, because I didn't want for there to be the pressure sensitivity sizing. I wanted the texture to be even across. So you turn off the pressure sensitivity for brush size, and you blend that across there. Clear stretch there. So that was that. Oh boy, there's more down here. There's a green one. Yeah, green type of landscape. What else? And then I was just messing across, trying to get some composition for this. Oh yeah, and this type of cloud-like effect that I was playing around with as well. It's just majorly just... let me just try to replicate this again. We've got a highlight of this tone. So we grab our oil. And it's nothing more than just trying to set that up. Getting your light sources concentrated in. No, I was using this. Smooth. Shape. Light sourcing like that. Get your smooth. Sharpen things up. And it kind of goes in that direction. That's a little bit about how I've been applying some of my random backgrounds. I'm not one for backgrounds very much, but this is sort of the effect that I got going on, and it's been a lot of fun playing around with that. Sometimes for backgrounds in animation, it's not necessarily needing to be depicted as realistic backgrounds, but more emotional representations. Lots of golden stuff to analyze that I've adored from growing up was Chuck Jones animations, and he's got just the knack. Rest in peace. Because there's very few people that I admire. Chuck Jones was one of those people. And it was about the line and how much to do it. And here we got a line, but we are giving, it's created because of contrast. It's the edge between the brush and the other color. That is the line. So this is how that type of background is done. And I hope you have fun, and I hope you have fun doing some more sketching with Clip. and just dig in and familiarize yourself with the tools and play around with them, change them, alter them as much as you want, because there is a reset button. So that will be reset to the actual defaults unless you register as reset. What's recommended is that you duplicate the brush that you sort of are tweaking, and then you go and save the progress that you are doing with the alteration of the brush itself. Register presets. For me, I don't change much more than just color, intensity, hardness, and what I have set out here. I don't change much more than just that. Sometimes I'll go and I will change a texture if I really want a texture to be applied in, which is not necessarily the case, so it's a lot more rare. Let's see, what else is there about playing around? Oh yeah, getting used to the extra tools, such as shapes, frames, not so much, but shapes and rulers, especially the perspective ruler. This is a really handy tool. You will want to get familiar with how this is working, because not only is it important to learn how to control it, but it is important to apply it into your drawing and to know where your perspective is. Here I've just done to add vanishing point, and it's gone and added a point for there. You need 2 lines for that. If I do it again, like that, it's going to change the horizon unless I tell it otherwise. Add vanishing point, add guide, delete vanishing point. Right. And yeah, add guide. Add guide gives you another line. And how to change around in that, you grab this tool. It's really handy. It doesn't delete things. You can go and select the keys themselves for these tools. So if you have like a sidewalk and a wall along a street, and you're going to have your wall up like that, put your sidewalk like so, and then you're going to set up the characters. You can move this around to wherever you need to adjust it, rotate, or just turn off specific lines so that you're not using that particular line, which is really important when you are trying to add other lines. So here, I'm using lighter pencil, but it's not doing anything. Oh, I see why. Because it's created a new layer. I only have the horizon layer in function right now. Object tool. Let's go turn these back on again. They're purple now. They're on. This one will turn off. So, back with the pencil. And I've only got that on right now. Let's turn that back on again. I think it's all purple now. Okay. So you can start to draw in a box, but I've only got 2 horizons here. Let's delete that. Delete. See, I had the ruler in selection. When delete, and it only deleted ruler. Perspective guide. Add a guide. Add a vanishing point. 1, 2. 1, 2. If I get nearby, it's going to snap. And there we go. So, I'll change the color. Boom. And I'm on another level. There we go. So, box in the general direction. There you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's where that part of the box would be. So it's super handy, especially if you want to do something like brick walls. Boop, 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 boop. It just goes in the direction that you need it to go. That's it. Very simple, lots of fun. Just going to stick in like a magnet in the direction you need. So I hope that's some handy tools you got to learn more about. And I do recommend utilizing perspective for your anatomy proportions. One of my drawings was I did a sketch of a couch. There was a couch in front of me, so I drew it as I saw it. So it was still life. I drew the couch, and then I drew a character sitting in the couch. So once you have a setting established, it becomes a lot easier to get your proportions right. So enjoy, have fun, and looking forward to seeing all the scraps and doodles and all that whatnot. Have a great evening.